say a few words like you did last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Sarah will be joining us for this one, just to let you know.
Yeah, hope so.
Oh yeah, I'll... Guys, if you're watching this, thank you for turning up early. We're going to start at 12 o'clock, so sit, listening to our conversations. Enjoy people arriving. We've got one other guest arriving in a second. And Tracy will start at 12 o'clock.
12, yeah. Derek, we had, just to let you know, we had over 70 students all the way through our talk we did with Jane.
That's fantastic.
So brilliant that we had so many and that they stayed on for the whole talk. So yeah.
So that's the thing. You know, in some cases, like, they do tend to drop off, but I feel like, yeah, Jane, it was really insightful talk. I learned a lot about midwifery, which I hadn't known before. So it was really insightful,
And that's what I love about doing these things, like just talking to Sophie just shortly about, you know, the work that she does, because our perception is very different from the reality and the different sort of patients that you deal with and things.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, dietitians, you tend to think of I don't know, sort of very frivolous things as opposed to really serious things. And you know, so it's really interesting. So thank you. Really appreciate you guys giving up your time, especially as it's such a busy, challenging time for you all in the NHS. So really appreciate that.
Yeah, most people associate dietitians with weight loss, and I think that's probably my everyday saying is we need to gain a little bit more weight. So I actually try to do the complete opposite.
You got to put weight on, not take it off. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Because I think that word diet, I don't know, is not always has its connotations, doesn't it? And people think it's not always what it should be. So
they often do think of beige, boring, flavourless food, or just lots of vegetables. But now I'm always like, my patients are surprised when I say, no, I want you to eat cake.
With cream and cherries. Yeah.
Guys, I'm just going to do a shout out again. Students, we've got a lot of students on. Nice couple of minutes early. Well done. Just bear with us. We're going to start at 12 o'clock when we get a few more people on. So just bear with us. Enjoy our conversations in the background.
Yeah, thank you. I just are you able to message Lara, Derek, or just?
Sure, yeah. I was gonna say I'll message Lara now, and if she does come on late, maybe we can just get started with Sophie.
No, I've seen that she's joining now, actually.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we'll start, and then we'll just add her in as we go. So yeah, I've just seen her. She's James will be admitting her now shortly.
Awesome.
Yeah. It must be so difficult to find the time. Where are you? Are you in your hospital office, Sophie?
Yes.
Is it one you share with lots of people, or is it?
There's quite a few of us that share this office. So, it can get busy sometimes.
So you can't hide yourself away. You're always accessible then.
Yeah, a lot of the rooms have had to sort of be. We've had to spread lots of people out because of social distancing, so it is sometimes quite difficult to try and find a private hidden room sometimes if it's not pre-booked. So,
Tracy, I haven't had anything through.
I've just had something. Lara said she was joining. I just saw a note that came up on my email. Let me just have a look.
Is she using the right link, I think? Once again, students, I know we got 1 minute and we're going to start, but we're just trying to get someone else on the call. Peek behind the curtain.
Right. Yeah, she's on the same link as Derek.
Okay. Because we haven't got a waiting room in this. So she should just be able to come straight on.
Do you want me to resend it to her, Tracy?
No, she's here.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Fantastic.
Dead on time. Dead on time.
Perfect. I'm going to go, Tracy.
Hi.
That's fine, Lara.
Sorry, I had a bit of trouble trying to get into the right Zoom meeting. It's really silly. Oh dear.
It's fine. You're here. It's not a problem at all. We're and I don't know if you got the email where Sophie has literally just jumped in at the last minute, standing in for Yusuf. He's really not very well today.
Okay. Poor thing. Oh.
So did you want to can we see you?
Yes, just a moment. I'm sorry. I have boxes behind me, so I'm going to do a little like virtual background as well. So
Hi Lara, just to let you know,
Hi.
so hiya. So we're on, we've started our stream to YouTube, so you are live.
righty-ho, okie dokie.
So yeah, and we're gonna, whenever you're ready, we are going to start. And I will disappear.
Okay.
Great.
So I just forget. Oh dear. Okay.
Just chat to me. Just chat to me. Just come and just chat to me. It's fine. Well, okay. So I'm going to start. I'll give you a quick countdown. So is everyone ready to go? Okay. Brilliant. So yes. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for our speakers today to join our Zoom link for our applied science students. So we really appreciate that you're able to give us your time, especially during these really difficult, challenging times. I know you guys are so busy, your appointments back to back. So for you to give us, 40 minutes during a really busy day is really appreciated. I'm just going to really have a chat with you, ask you to introduce yourselves shortly, and we're just going to talk through sort of your career so far and sort of top tips that you could give our students who are thinking of maybe working in your career area. Also, a big thank you for Sophie, who's literally just jumped in. Our previous speaker, Yusuf, we just literally had an email about half an hour ago saying that he was really unwell. So Sophie has literally, with 5 minutes notice, has literally jumped on the computer and able to join us. So thank you. Before I start, I'm going to ask Derek just to mention a few words, just introduce his project and give you some information. So thanks, Derek.
That's great. Thank you, Tracy. And a big hello to all the students tuning in. I'm Derek and I work for Inspiring the Future. So thanks for tuning in. And one of the focuses at the charity is working with schools and colleges to really promote awareness of jobs within healthcare. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but there are over 350 jobs in the NHS. So a range for you to consider. And allied health professional roles are especially interesting. And these aren't always so familiar to people. So excited to have the two guest speakers with us today. So please do make the most of it and send in questions if you have any. Just another point, a link to our survey has been put in your work passports. So it'd be really great if you could take a moment after the session to complete those, which will help inform our NHS campaign and will provide some really lovely feedback to share back with the volunteers.
Brilliant, thank you. And I will remind students at the end of this Zoom assembly again to complete the survey. So great. Okay, thank you, Derek. So we'll start actually with Lara, if you don't mind, if that's okay. I just wondered if you just wouldn't mind introducing yourself, the work that you do, and just really give us some information about your career journey so far.
Excellent. Yeah. Hello, I'm Lara. I work at Ipswich Hospital. My job title is Therapeutic Radiographer. Now, therapeutic radiographers basically use high energy X-rays to treat cancer. So although we are termed radiographers, we're not a diagnostic radiographer. So we don't use the radiation to diagnose, we use it to treat. So we have these big machines that are called linear accelerators, and we use those, as I say, to deliver high energy X-rays to people with cancer, which kills the cancer cells. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to know?
Yeah, Yeah, did you come straight from university? So where did you do your university, your radiography degree? And I'll talk a little bit about that in a little while, about application process and things like that. But so did you do your university degree within the area that you are now working?
I did. So I think there are only 10 universities that actually offer this course. So they're relatively few and far between, and each university has kind of 4 or 5 maybe different hospitals that they work with, and you have a placement at the hospital whilst you're doing your degree. So I personally trained here in Ipswich, and I trained in the hospital here and the university here. And I'm still here now. So I love it. That's, a testament to that. So yeah, I did my 3 years training here as well.
Great. Okay, thank you. So, Sophie, if you wouldn't mind just again introducing yourself and where you work, what you do, and just a little bit about maybe your day-to-day job and the types of things that you do at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm Sophie. I'm a dietitian. My role is split. Half of it is stroke specialist and then half is general. I'm based down in Somerset in a small town called Yeovil. I, like Lara, when I trained to be a dietitian, there's quite a few universities that do the dietetics specific course. So I trained down in Plymouth and I graduated about 3 years ago now. And I've worked across 2 different trusts. So I worked previously in a trust called Weston-super-Mare, just outside of Bristol. And then I moved to Yeovil from there. So yeah, that's sort of how my career so far.
Yeah. So what made you choose dietetics then?
So initially it was because when I was at school, when I was about 13, 14, one of my friends was diagnosed with an eating disorder. And we had sort of group therapy sessions because they were within sort of young girls. It's quite prominent for eating disorders to be around the group. And we had group therapy sessions with a psychologist and a dietitian to sort of promote healthy relationships with food. And then that's from there. I'm quite a big foodie. I like to eat lots of different things and try lots of different things, and I am quite a feeder as well. So I will always bake cakes and then give everyone else a slice. So from there, it sort of just kind of fell quite naturally to my love of food.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. So, so Lara, so is your sort of the reality of the work you do, is it what you thought it was going to be when you first started and applied?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, yes. I think that, I mean, it's kind of a sensitive topic, isn't it? Like talking about cancer and things like that. So I think for the most part, yes, I did believe it would be what I am doing now. I think from an outside perspective, people think that it's very sad and very somewhat morbid and depressing, but it's actually really not. It's kind of the opposite in reality. And I think that's an interesting sort of juxtaposition almost, because we actually have what is a happy department for the most part. So I think that's something that is quite interesting. You don't see sadness as much as you might anticipate. And the other thing is, like, technically speaking, again, I love using technology, and we always have to keep on top of all these technological advances, always updating new equipment, always updating new software. So we have to be quite aware of different technologies in this profession. So from that perspective, that's what I wanted. That is what I was hoping for, and that's what I got. So yeah, that was quite a good thing. So
yeah, so no surprises really then?
Not particularly. I think the key thing really is that we don't necessarily have many people that know what this job is. So that's more the thing. Once you understand what it is, you kind of expect it to be as it is. It's just the first hurdle is knowing it exists.
Yeah. So that is great. There's something like today, talking to our students, I'm thinking, and I'm at fault as this, radiographer, you automatically think of the person. You go and have your x-ray if you've broken your ankle or your arm or something like that. And and people are not always aware about the different opportunities within that role that are available. Is there anything else, or is it just those two?
So there are two different types of radiographer. So like you say, you've got the diagnostic and the therapeutic radiographer. We have the same professional title, but they are two completely separate degrees. So I can't go and x-ray someone in the diagnostic department, and they can't come up and do any sort of treatments or anything, because we've got two different degrees. So they are completely separate professions, but we're just sort of called the same, which, you know, confuses everybody, including my own family. So yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, now I know. Thank you. Yeah. So Sophie, then really just the same question to you, really. So is the reality of what you do, what you thought it matches your perception of what it would be like?
I think because I was able to do placements when I was at university, it sort of gave me a real sort of reality of what it is like in the NHS as a dietitian, which I'm sure Lara would quite agree with. Those are definitely the eye-opener. But definitely when I was looking into dietetics when I was about 16, I sort of thought it would be a bit different to what it is now. So particularly with my stroke role, I didn't actually know that much initially before I started my degree with my stroke role as the impact that we would have. So everyone sort of thinks it could be quite upsetting, because strokes are quite a upsetting situation with people. They do lose their independence. They might lose, so for me, they lose their swallow, but actually working with speech and language therapists, physios and OTs, and then seeing patients rehab is actually the most rewarding thing of them all. I definitely very, very happy when I see someone progress from tube feeding to being able to eat their meals. And although it's hospital food and everyone has this idea of, oh, it's hospital food, the enjoyment that patients get from that it sort of reflects onto me. It does make me quite happy. And then we spoke earlier, everyone sort of thinks a dietitian or weight loss or sort of diabetes initially, sort of trying to restrict people's intake. But my most used phrase is, you need to gain a little bit more weight, or do you like milk, or what's your favorite cake, what's your favorite food? So that's sort of a completely different perception to what most people have of dietitians there. So yeah,
and absolutely probably extremely important role as working as a team, working around the patient, that people don't always think about, do they?
No, and I think a lot of our care is what we call patient-centered. So I will speak to my patients and say, what do you want from this? Particularly talking to any gastro patients, we aim for symptom relief. So what's your worst symptom? How can we help you there? Rather than looking at, okay, this is what I think you need. So we do a lot of patient-directed care and patient-centered care. So it links with the stroke role. What's your goal? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so that's and I think, yes, that's quite good for the students to know. And I don't know, I'll ask Lara and then Sophie. I mean, I've just had a question come through. Our applied science students are studying a level 3 BTEC, and they do apply to university to do various sort of degrees related to science. So do you know the types of entry requirements, or is there opportunities for students that are studying like applied science to study and apply for your kind of courses? So Lara, would you be able to help me with that?
Yes, it is different for each university. So I'd recommend that you actually ask the university that you'd like to go to first for that information. I know that within sort of my year, which again was a fair while ago now, but then I had A-levels, but there were people there that did access courses. There were people there that did do various different other ways of entering into university. So there are always options. I think it's good that you've done like the science subjects. They are what you would need to get in, and depends on sort of what grading you get, etc. But there are many different options, I'd say. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that would definitely work.
Yeah. And what about you, Sophie? You agree with that?
Yeah, I would echo what Lara says. So I went to Plymouth University, and part of my time there, I did spend a lot of time going to university open fairs, so like the UCAS fairs and things like that. And I know for the course I was on, there were people who did access courses, there were people who had done degrees and then were doing like the final sort of almost like a postgraduate, but doing it in an undergraduate situation. So they'd switched from previous degrees. So I came straight from A-levels as well, but there were some people who had done BTECs on my course. And then when I was going to the careers fairs and sort of with the university, it was something Plymouth University would say, yes, like we would accept BTECs and this is the level that you need. So I think definitely speaking to, even if it's not the university you want to go to, but speaking to lots of different universities just to get that picture as to what they would want, and sort of the entry requirements would be my advice.
Yeah, brilliant advice. Thank you, both of you. I think, it's just about researching, and I know that there are lots of different avenues and options that are open to students looking to apply to any of the allied health professionals. As Derek mentioned, there's like over 350 that we don't even think about. So there will be avenues into that. Just really wanted to just ask a question, just sort of what are the main challenges do you feel are to your role? I'll go back to Lara. So what do you feel are the main challenges that you have to deal with either on a day-to-day basis or, that you've come across since you've been working?
I think there's several different categories. First of all, I think a key one is, again, learning to communicate effectively with both your colleagues, other professionals that we work with, and also patients. So you have to learn, which is something that I initially struggled with, I have to admit. You have to learn to adapt to lots of different people. You meet maybe 30 different patients in a day, and you have to treat each of those, as Sophie said, with sort of like this patient-centered care, and you have to treat everybody as what they are, an individual, and communicate effectively with them. So that's something that I think I was somewhat worried about initially. Now I'm sort of a bit more practiced at it, and you learn and it's kind of changed my personality to a certain extent, I think, and I quite like that. The other thing I would say is that from a more technical point of view, as I said earlier, you have to keep up with technology. You also have to manage your time effectively, and you have to keep things sort of running smoothly, and you have to predict what's going to happen next in lots of different areas. So we have to keep our appointments on time, make sure that any problems or other things are resolved effectively. For example, some patient might have the need for further care, or they might need some help with some side effects that they might be having, or we might need to sort of assess something a bit further, and that has an impact on the rest of your patient list, as with many other different professions, etc. But we then have to try and figure out how best to handle that and how best to then manage the rest of our time to not impact other people's days and things like that. So yeah, there's lots of different challenges really, but those two are just an example really.
Yeah. And would you say that you're obviously doing the placements as part of your university degree sort of helped you with that and sort of gave you the confidence and the knowledge to be able to sort of monitor those and deal with those?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I think that being immersed into an environment that is real and there's like tangible stuff happening around you, you have to be involved in that. You feel the stress. you feel the stress, and you feel those challenges, and you learn how to sort of almost control your own emotions and proactively help a team and communicate with them. And you're surrounded by people that have, you know, decades of experience as well, so you're learning from the best. In essence, you are learning from people that know their stuff. And I suppose sometimes it feels like it's sort of pressure to be better than you really need to be, in that sense, like you're feeling like you should be at a level that you perhaps aren't actually expected to be. But then you learn so much more than you would from just the theory. I think the most of your learning is in placement, because, like I say, you're seeing it happen, and it solidifies the understanding of the theory that you've had at university.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant, great. And such a key part as well, isn't it, of the course. What about you, Sophie? So, I mean, I don't know if your challenges are similar to Lara's or whether they are different.
Yeah, so communication is definitely sort of a key part of, it's our sort of only tool really as a dietitian. We don't do anything else. We only talk to the patients. We're not like doctors who do physical examinations to find out what's going on. So communicating with your patient, and they can have a variety of different conditions. So a good analogy that an example I use is, you might, as a student, be going on to a ward to see a patient with dementia who thinks they're back in the 1950s and everything, they're okay and they're fit and well, and adapting your communication to try and work out what they're having to eat, how they're managing, when they've lost weight, their jewelry, is it loose, those sorts of adaptations to communication is sort of one of the main challenges, and it goes on throughout your whole career. So in stroke as well, my day-to-day job, people can lose the ability to verbally communicate in a variety of ways. So they can get the words mixed up, they can become completely aphasic is what we call it, where they just can't get anything out, or think words can be in a jumbled sentence. So you've got to try and piece together what they're telling you. So they might be in pain, or they might have stomach pain because they haven't gone to the toilet, and they're trying to tell you that, but they might not be able to say, I haven't gone to the toilet and it really hurts. So that's one thing that definitely is a day-to-day thing that everybody struggles with in dietitian, as a dietitian, and your placements do really prepare you for that, because like Lara said, you shadow the people who are doing it every single day, and you sort of pick up tips. I remember when I was a student, I was writing things down going, oh, the dietitian said it this way, and I say things now and I think, oh gosh, if they were watching me, they would know exactly that I took it from their consultation. So yeah, and then linking with the medical team and other therapy teams as well, so we call it the MDT, the multidisciplinary team, and communicating with them. The doctors are very busy at the moment, so you need to get your concerns across in a very short but effective way, and that's something that as a sort of newly qualified dietitian, you often want to go, well, I've done this and this and this, and I've really had a help with this patient here, but can you sort this out, when actually it's this person needs you to do this. So that's sort of what is like at the moment, but then making sure that it's not coming across as I'm telling you how to do your job.
It's finding that balance, isn't it? It's just being very concise and to the point without seeming to be rude.
And again, often we could be the first person that the patient sees who's not a doctor, or a nurse, and patients will always say to me, I've got this issue, but I didn't want to bother the nurses with it because they're very busy. And then they can sort of put everything onto you because you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor, but you're someone who is just talking to them. So often it can be some really difficult things, and you might have to link with, actually, this is a safeguarding concern, maybe they're not safe at home, and sort of making sure you escalate that, but also don't take it home with you, and also not worry, have I done everything for this person? So the sort of the emotional side of things can be quite difficult, particularly at the moment where family aren't coming in to see their family members. They can get quite upset. So sort of they would always go, can you pass the message on to my daughter? And if I did that, I would have 30 different family members to call by the end of the day. But getting that sort of reassurance to the patients emotionally is something that, if you're not a natural empath, then that empathy needs to come across, but also not a okay sort of way, and you're actively listening to the patient is a challenge as well, because a lot of our expression and our communication is through our body. So when we're wearing the PPE at the moment, patients only see this bit of me, and that can be quite distressing sometimes for them. So I do say I am smiling under this mask. Like, I am. I wish I could show you, but that's a challenge at the moment that we're all learning to adapt to. But
yeah, absolutely. And just every day is very difficult, and everyone's learning every day, aren't they, to adapt, as you well say. I mean, I can't believe the time has gone so quickly. I mean, we're coming to the end of our chat, and I just wondered, as you're directly in front of me, Lara, is there anything else you might want to share with the students before we wrap up at all? Any information about, any work experience that would be ideal, or anything to do with any applications, or just the day-to-day work, or any kind of top tips that you probably want to share with them before we wrap up our assembly?
Of course. I would say definitely come and visit in a hospital at a point where we might be able to. So if you can organise a work experience visit day, you can come in for the whole day, half a day, whatever. Come and have a look at what we are doing. I imagine it would be the same with pretty much any of the professions. Also, research what the allied health professions are. I think there's 14 different health professions that we umbrella term AHP. That includes radiographers, dietitians, several different other ones, occupational therapists as well. So loads of different allied health professions are out there, as well as every other job that is available in the NHS. So it's worth having a look at them. There's also information on our society website, so kind of like our professional society. They're called the Society of Radiographers. You can research that as well. But I definitely recommend coming and having a little look, because that's the only way that you're truly going to understand what it is. And it was the same for me. Like once I visited an actual department, I knew that this would fit me, because it has, you have, like Sophie's been saying, you have to be empathetic, and you have to be technically able, you have to communicate, all of these things. It fits a person's personality, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if you don't go and visit, you don't have an understanding, and it would be awful to apply for a degree that you start and then, after 6 months, but the realization is that actually I'm really not enjoying this, is not what I thought it was, and I don't know if I want to continue. So the preparation and the research is key, I would think.
Yes, definitely. And you get to see other people in that environment as well. So not just the profession that you're thinking of applying to be. You will see other teams in the area, because again with Sophie, we work with lots of different professions. So you'll see how they are in that environment as well. So I work with dietitians, I work with doctors, nurses, speech and language, all of those people, and you get to meet all of them. So it would be worth doing.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And Sophie, so it's busy office where you are.
Yeah.
Lots going on. Yeah.
We are all coming back for lunch, so yeah,
Okay.
most dietitians are like cows. We all come back for food.
Aren't we all a little bit like that, I think? Oh dear. Yeah, so was there anything that you think, any top tips or any information you think would be useful to share with our students about what you do?
Yeah, so like Lara said, coming to visit a department and seeing all of the different things that we do and who we link with, because if you don't feel like actually a dietitian is exactly what I want to be, you might find that you'll come across a speech and language therapist on that day, and that will really pique your interest, and that's the avenue that you want to go down, or like nutrition nurse or something like that. So you have that cross encounter on hospital sort of visit days. And then from my point of view, the British Dietetic Association is our representative body. They have lots of different resources on how to become a dietitian, the different avenues of being a dietitian as well. So whether that's in the NHS, whether that's acute, such as in a hospital, or whether it's in the community or private, there's loads of different roles dietitians do, even food industry and sort of product design as well. So every sort of meal, that every food that's out on the shelves has a dietitian involved in their sort of a nutritional analysis, so it doesn't have to be clinical as well. And then I would also say really sort of think the wider field. So for dietitians, I did some work experience in a nursing home to help support the nutritional care of the elderly population there. And that gave me a really good underpinning of what's practical, what's manageable. So yeah, that's what I would say, is sort of just look wider, but the BDA are a really useful resource for that.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant ideas and tips and links. So students will share those links with you, so you've got them so you can do your research. We're going to wrap up now, so I just wanted to say a big thank you both to Lara and Sophie, sort of volunteering your time when I know that you're both really busy, and you've squeezed us into your schedule to chat to our students and just really give them a little bit of an insight, an explanation about your role and about how your role links with the the rest of the team working, the multidisciplinary team that works in the hospital. So that's really insightful. So thank you. I just want to send a message to the students. Just remember to complete your survey for Derek. It also helps Lara and Sophie as well, because they need to know, and volunteers like them, they need to know, the types of things that you would find useful and what would be helpful for you, so they can talk to you and give you that information. So the survey's really, really important. So I just wanted to say thank you both. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.